I made a lot of people race on this super chain. Craze, back outside, and it's right here. This that super bass. I just woke up and I'm like, what I'm finna do today? Measurements, major flips, makes sense. Okay, let's go. Going up, I'm going long. I told the squad, meet at the base. Punt the bags, I punt the stock. It must be hard to keep the pace. 7 figures out the songs, that was the outcome of my pain. We're bringing $1 billion on chain.
Some people gon' leave whenever there's tough times, but shout out to the real ones that stuck by. Dark days make you appreciate when there's sunshine. Reason I trust mine. Look, I got some moves to make. I gotta get it right now, I refuse to wait. Really don't do the fakes. I gotta keep my grass low just to view the snakes. If only you knew the stakes. Taking these risks to pursue was great. I got some moving base. Now I'm on chain and I'm using base. Using base. Now I'm on chain and I'm using base. I've been outside, I'ma choose my faith. Cooking the shit of a food on plates. And then when Rio be standing on business, there ain't no way we can lose this race. I had to manage the damage inflicted, but on the grass we don't use the brakes. Nah. So many chains I've been able to mint. So many ways now I'm taking my pick. Bullet the best while I'm still in the market. Wallets on wallets, I'm staking a bit. Face like I'm Little B. Say what I say, now she feel to me. Make what I make, now they shielding me.
Big dog, big drums, big bass. When she look around, she see bass. Trying to play keep up, but it's way too late.
On-chain is the next online.
I'm Jesse Pollak. Oh, hello everybody. I'm Jesse Pollak, your host of On-Chain Stories and the first contributor base. I'm super excited to be here with Kohji, one of the founders of Parallel, on a big day for Parallel as they open up the beta to the public. Kohji, welcome. How's the day going?
Pretty good. Kind of a whirlwind. It's hard for me to keep track of what's going on. I mean, you asked me about it earlier and I was like, what are you talking about? So that's kind of where I'm at right now. I also am recovering from being ill, so my mental faculties aren't at 100. But so far, so good.
So far, so good. Well, thanks for making time, even as all this craziness is going on and you have been sick. I want to start, before we get into Parallel, just hearing a little bit more about you. Would you mind talking us through kind of like what's your journey been on-chain? How did you get into on-chain gaming? What brought you here? And kind of like how long have you been building?
Oh, man. Yeah. So, I mean, it's a bit of a convoluted story because my journey starts early on. Many years ago, me and some of the same guys who were working in Parallel, I had another startup that had some on-chain related things. However, my part of that organization was more in a social element. I was a podcaster back then, so I wasn't really exposed too much to the on-chain stuff, and I mistakenly put my head in the sand when it came to that stuff, because I was like, I don't really understand this, and I'll just talk to people on mic, as I'm sure you can understand. So I didn't learn too much, and then this whole thing came about. But my role in it has been designing the game. So again, I came into this idea of creating this game as like, I don't understand this blockchain stuff. I don't know, and it's really been an education from the get-go, because we obviously have some of my founding partners are absolute experts when it comes to that stuff. And they've slowly been inching me along to the point where maybe now I'm a true degenerate, but yeah, no, it's been kind of fun. I think it's one of these things where, like, unless you're forced to do it, or you have a compelling reason, or you've heard some pretty good stories about it, it's hard to get into. But once you're into it, like, how do you get out of it? You're like, I love being knee deep in all of the nonsense, and for better or worse, it's just like, what a fun place, full of energy to inhabit.
Yeah, well, I totally agree. I feel like the level of builder energy right now on chain is unparalleled. So many people who are building so many things that feel like they're at the absolute cutting edge of what's possible with technology, including Parallel. Can you talk us through a little bit of your guys' journey? How did you get to where you are today?
Yeah, sure. So it started out in COVID. Me and a bunch of my friends were playing video games, Call of Duty, any game with a voice chat, basically, or over Discord where we could talk to each other. And we are all technologists in a certain way. I mean, I dabbled in game design previously, but I also worked in software. And at one point, we were so bored in COVID, and we were just thinking to ourselves, like, hey, we're spending all this time playing video games. We have like nothing but quote unquote free time because you're stuck at home. What are you going to do? So we basically decided, like, how hard could it be to make our own game, which is, like kind of naive and silly, but that's where it all started, basically. And at the same time, a good friend of ours, Oscar, who's the head of our art department and one of the founders, came to us and was interested in working with crypto and NFTs, and this was pre Beeple, pre all that stuff. And our CEO, to his credit, and a good friend of mine, Sasha, was smart enough to be like, wait, let's smash these two things together and see what we can do here. And that's what we did. And a few weeks later, this is like the most insane part of the story, but we cold messaged Chad Hurley, who's the creator of one of the creators of YouTube, on Twitter, and we were just like, hey, we have this crazy idea. We sold some NFTs, people really like it. What do you think? And he's like, yeah, let's have a call and see what we can do. And from there, it was just like, I hesitate to use a crypto term, but it's like a rocket ship, everything seems to have moved so quickly in such a short period of time. Now, obviously, like, we've put in a lot of work, and by crypto terms, it's probably a long period of time, but relative to my life, I'm just like, this is insane what's happening.
Yeah, I absolutely love it. And it does feel like you guys have kind of been at the leading edge of kind of what's possible on chain with gaming, kind of each and every time, and moving really quickly. Can you talk us through kind of the recent closed alpha, the open beta that's opening to everyone today? What's your guys' experience been opening up this game to the world, and how are you feeling about opening up even further?
So I'll say this, that I am before I got into this whole world, I was a musician, and I would always get off stage thinking,
What'd you play?
Mainly the guitar. Oh, you can't see it. There's like a whole bunch of guitars on the other wall here lined up, but mainly the guitar. But I played like a whole bunch of stuff, trumpet, clarinet, xylophone, piano, a whole bunch of nonsense, but mainly the guitar. But I would always leave stage thinking like, I messed up this one song, or that song wasn't good enough, or whatever. So like, even now I look at the game and I'm like, oh, I want to fix that, or I want this to be better, or we need to adjust this. But I'm getting comfortable with the idea that people are really enjoying it, having a good time, and it's been amazing. Honestly, we had a before the open beta, we had a tournament where we invited a bunch of card game influencers, esports people, etc., into play. Some of them being like heroes of mine. Shout out Bunny Hopper, Al Straza, a bunch of these other people. And the most amazing thing to me was, I mean, they all said they had fun, but of course, what are they going to say? Are they going to be like, hey, this game is shit? But like a bunch of them stuck around afterwards, and not like for any incentive. It was just like they were having fun, I guess, dominating the leaderboards or whatever, but they just stuck around and kept playing. And to me, I was just like, this is crazy. These guys that at one point I was watching play Hearthstone or Magic or Snap or whatever are like now playing this game and having a good time doing it. And not being forced to do it. And now, we decided to work with a bunch of them, and it's been like a dream come true.
I love that. I absolutely love that. And it does seem like, you guys didn't just build a game, you built a really good game. And you didn't just build a game on crypto, you built a really good game on crypto. Can you talk a little bit about kind of like why you guys decided to build on chain and what that's actually enabled for the game and players?
Sure. I mean, the main reason why we decided to build on chain, again, just out of frame, everything I'm talking about is just out of frame, but there's a whole series of like sealed cards over here, including a Japanese version of the One Ring and all this stuff. And one of the main reasons we decided to build on chain is to bring that element to the digital world, right? Like I grew up going to card stores and looking in the glass cases and being like, oh man, I wish I could buy this dual land or this Birds of Paradise. Or I mean, I'm obviously referencing Magic cards because that's what I grew up on. But the idea that like I own these assets and I can trade them, so I have a friend who's interested in Magic, and I can just give him some decks and be like, let's play.
Yeah.
And
then they're his.
Right. And there's nothing like that. Or that I can just lend them and then he can give them back or whatever. But
totally.
There's nothing
that
like
feeling.
that. Yeah. And crypto, on-chain, whatever you want to call it, like it allowed that to happen, right? Like it
Yeah.
allows you to trade stuff with people. It allows you to lend it to people, allows you to sell when you're, or like you can trade up to cards. You can sell cards that you don't want or trade and get the cards you do want. And all this stuff wasn't possible before. And I also like the idea that it's not governed by us, you can go
Right.
into the marketplaces of the world and decide, okay, this is how I want to operate with these cards. And to me, that's like really appealing because that's how the whole card game world work. Like those stores operate on people buying single
Right.
cards out of their glass cases, right? So
Right. Yeah. And it's not like there's one corporation that gets to control all of the cards and set all of the markets. It's that you actually have this independent, decentralized, peer to peer marketplace where the cards are released into the world. They have real value, real ownership, and then people build a market around it. And I really feel like that's only possible on chain. Because if
absolutely.
you're not on chain, you end up with this kind of centralized, not marketplace, but instead like the everything store from whoever you pick. And I think that we can do better. And I think we're already starting to see that happen in crypto. It's cool. Like you can go to any marketplace and buy parallel cards there.
I gotta say that it like scares me like to no end because if I wasn't, and obviously like all of our marketing guys are just gonna like murder me after this call for this, but if I was in charge of the market, I'd be like, okay, let's keep the prices between like $1 and or like cents to like $100 or something, right? Because as soon as like we've had a card sell in the past for like a million, what the equivalent of $1 million, and I'm just like, oh my god.
Yeah.
The idea of that, and obviously it's out of my hands, so I just have to be okay with it. But the idea of that is like so crazy to me. But it just shows you that it's like not mine anymore. But that's
Yeah.
kind of what you want, right? Like rather than having a stranglehold over all of it, it's just like no, let the people decide. And what is, and you just got to keep your head down and build.
I
You
love
know,
it. I love it. Keep your head down and build. If you're watching and you're a builder, let me tell you, there's no better advice than that. Put your head down, create something special, and it'll have a profound impact on the world. So, talk to kind of us about what's changing today with the open beta.
I mean, big pushes to get people into the game.
Well, first and foremost, people can sign up now, right?
Yes.
Like you don't have you
Well,
don't have to be on a wait list. If you
yeah.
want to play parallel, you can today.
Yes. So you can go to our website, parallel.life, download the client and start playing. There's no invites, there's no wait list, there's no like little games you have to play in order to get in. You're just in. Um,
And
and
you're in on a game that hundreds of thousands of people have already played, are loving.
yeah,
There's a whole marketplace and economy built around it. I think it's emerging as one of the world's best TCGs. And it's built fully on chain, and now it's open to everyone.
absolutely. And I will say that like I know that there's usually like a bit of a daunting feeling when you've come into these games and there's a bunch of people already playing and you're like, oh, am I going to be able to catch up or whatever? I can tell you for sure that although people think they've solved this game, no one knows anything. So like if you if
Still
you
day
think
one.
you're yeah, if you think you're a competent card game player, jump in and show these guys who's boss because there's still a lot to figure out. Um, yeah, and you're still going to be very, very early. We've only released the base set of cards. We haven't released any expansions or anything like that yet. So if you're in now, you get it on the ground floor. You'll be ready to run for the rest of the life of this game.
I absolutely love it. And again, if you're interested in getting started playing today, you can go to parallel.life, get signed up, get some cards that you actually own, and get playing. Kohji, can you give us a little bit of a peek into the future? What's coming from Parallel, and how do you think kind of on-chain gaming is going to evolve over the next few years?
Oh man, I got to walk a tightrope here because I'm not sure what I'm allowed to and not allowed to say, but I'll do my best here. So
Trying to
what's
get that
coming?
alpha on the show.
That's right. What's coming with Parallel? So I mean, we obviously have the card game. We have an expansion ready to go in the hopper. We're just we want to re-engage as many players as possible. So obviously we're waiting until after open beta and all the excitement there to bring in another expansion. We've also started work designing the one afterwards. We're actually pretty close on that one. So there's a lot of content coming on the card game side. I'd also be remiss if I didn't mention that every month in our battle pass, you can earn a new card that has yet to exist in the game. So there's always new content rolling through the game there. And then on top of that, we're working on another game that people seem to be really excited about called Colony, which is, I like to dub it the 1.5 player game, where you are paired with an AI and you're sort of the super ego or angel or devil on their shoulder, helping them navigate the harsh life of living on a colony in parallel. It's in the same sort of lore and world of the card game. And basically, you and this AI are working together to build a colony, but also fight off other colonies and survive disasters. So you can think of it like The Sims meets Tamagotchi meets Don't Starve meets, I don't know, some sort of war game.
OpenAI.
Yeah. It's going to be completely nuts. And the colony is made up of you and other AI colonists that are governed by other players. But the most interesting thing is like you can talk to your AI and you can suggest something and it can say no. So it's not like another game where you just have full control over the character that's running around on the screen. It's like you've got to work together to figure out the solutions.
I absolutely love it. And I've been getting kind of sneak previews of Colony for the last 6 to 12 months as they've been in R&D. And I think it's one of the most profound kind of leaps in terms of gameplay that we've seen in the last 25 years. And so really excited for them to start opening that up to more players. Well, Kohji, thank you so much for coming on to On-Chain Stories. Super excited about the open beta of Parallel. Again, if you're looking to play an incredible world-class trading card game, go to parallel.life and get playing today. Thanks, everyone.